Well, warm greetings, co-host.
Yes, man.
Ivan Williams.
Warm
It's, al-
greetings.
it's always a pleasure. This is reality with partiality. And please let us have your comments online. Um, you are free, and we will post them online, and we will respond to whatever comments you make, even if it's to say hello, I'm here. So I want you to know that this morning, like we've been doing, we keep it real. And myself being a coach, life transformation coach, we're not selling pie in the sky here. We're not selling hope. So we bring people on the show who want their lives to be transformed into becoming the best version of themselves. That's what we're about. And so we will stay on that theme, including today. And so, co-host, towards that end, I want to say to you that there is no such thing as being overly ambitious. You don't agree with me?
I agree. Certainly agree with you.
There is no such thing as being overly ambitious for the reason that if you were the village councillor there in not saying by where the village is?
It's still grass.
Silgrass.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're bigger than that, but just an example. And you would want to become the village chief. What they call the chief of the village council there?
Well, it will be the chairperson.
The chairperson.
Yeah.
And if you were the chairperson, hypothetically, because you're bigger than that, you would want to become the area rep, which you were close to it. Had you become the area rep, you would aspire. Maybe you wouldn't tell everybody, but had you won the seat as the area rep and you were there in the house, in the parliament, why wouldn't you want to become the prime minister? The reason it is like this is because the intellect is driving. It is driving, wanting the individual to grow and expand limitlessly. And there is nothing wrong with ambition, because that is the way we are built.
Well, I think it has to be the driving force behind the individual, because if you don't have a driving force, then things will just pass you. Will just be what? You'll be reacting instead of becoming a part of the process.
Yes.
So it is only natural that every human being should have ambitions. Now,
yes.
How you achieve it now is what we need to talk about, because you cannot be in certain respects against certain fundamental principles.
Well, before we get to that,
yeah,
let us talk about how we came. What's on the inside and what's on the outside. We all came with basic, the want to survival skills. We all came with that. So we all have, our creatures, including the human being, have the reptilian brain. But the nature of the reptilian brain is boundary setting. It's territorial. So the dog uses it to pee on every light post, going around, I, me, my, setting up its pee kingdom. But you see, the dog has two lines. The bottom line is its date of birth and its date when it will expire. But it also comes with a ceiling. The dog can only be a dog. So all the dog can wish and want to is to become, you know, what? The best dog that it can be.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes, yes. A full-fledged dog. All a tree wants to become or can become is a full-fledged tree.
Yeah,
However, human beings, on the other hand,
they have other faculties and so on.
don't have a ceiling, only a bottom line.
Yeah.
Human beings don't have a ceiling, no top line. You don't ask a dog what you want to be. It doesn't have a choice. A human being, on the other hand, will answer that question, or should. Because that's the difference of a being. Only being God created, human being. They are born already knowing how to be, how they feel, how they think, and in mature time, what they want for an ambitious career. So, with that, the human being doesn't only have the reptilian brain. She is supposed to elevate beyond the use of the reptilian brain to using the cerebral cortex, given evolution, wherein lies the intellect. The intellect is one's tool for exploration. Life, you see, is an expedition, and the intellect is the tool for exploration, but the intellect wants to know, not believe. The intellect wants to go out of bounds. It doesn't like boundaries, so it operates the very opposite of the reptilian brain. It doesn't want a limitation because you can't grow beyond boundaries. You see the problem?
Yes.
You can't go beyond a boundary. Your thoughts?
Well, certainly, and that is the whole idea behind these presentations, because if you want to become the best version of yourself,
Yes.
you have to first can't be aware that it is not a single event. It's a lifelong process. Okay,
Uh-huh.
it's a process.
I agree.
And
However,
during that process, we as human beings have to use all our faculties
it's a spiritual process, which I will explain. But it starts with an explosion.
to
It's not
allow
a
what
drip,
you were
drip.
suggesting, that there is constant growth.
One moment.
Yes, go ahead.
Transformation is not a drip, drip process. It's not a growth process. It has to start with an explosion to go from the physical to the spirit realm, because the physical realm is our boundaries. You and I come with the boundary of a height and shoulder width. That's a boundary of space we occupy. And we come with a lifespan, the boundary of time. Everything in the created universe comes with boundaries, which you can't grow beyond. Your body and mind are boundaries. All of those are outside of you, you know. You know what's inside of you? Only your spirit. You are a spirit being at the core. Your body, mind are outside. Everything is outside. Your 5 common senses, they only capture from outside. So you can't grow limitlessly in the physical realm, because everything in the physical realm has boundaries. So your heart can only be full until you encounter something or someone more appealing. Your mind, even if you powder all the libraries and enter them into your head, there will always remain something more for you to learn. So you cannot exhaust your growth through physical means. The only way you can do that is in the spirit realm, because the spirit realm is boundless. So you have to change governance over yourself from the physical to the spirit realm, there is where you can grow limitlessly. In the spirit realm, where you then govern by your spirit, i.e., you steer by your spirit. Imagine a vehicle.
Yes.
You have your body and energy system as your two back wheels. Those are already going in life's direction. They want to live. But your thought and emotion, which are the front wheels, you constantly have to bring them into alignment. You know why? Because to every time your thought says, I am pissed, I am mad, you're close to the madhouse. That close.
Well, you have to control that. That comes from your
Therefore,
emotions.
you are creating poison, maybe intended for someone else, but you're drinking it yourself. Foolhardy. That is the problem. Your mind and emotion are tripping and confused. One moment they're saying, I want to live. The next moment they're saying, I don't want to live. To every time you create anger, bitterness, jealousy, envy, you're creating a poison and drinking it yourself. That is the reason why you constantly have to bring those two front wheels, thought and emotion, into alignment and have all four wheels, body, energy system, thought, emotion, going in one and the same direction with your governance by the spirit. Your spirit, not God's. Only you can live inside of you. And you keep that vehicle going in the one direction, not changing lanes. You have to focus it, because life, as you said, can go around in a cycle. But if you go around in a cycle, you're not going to reach your destination, ultimate. Because you see, everything in the physical realm goes in a cycle. The earth is going around the sun. The moon is going around the earth. And the only reason you and I are here is because our mother's cycle, her menstrual cycle, 29 and a half days, was in sync with the cycle of the moon. So see, cycles are good for calendar making, farming, fishing, but not for career, not for ambition. You have to break the cycle and go in more or less a straight line. You see? And to do that, then, you can't continue to live on the basic survival level where you're compulsive in thought and behavior. You have to elevate beyond that and start living consciously, making decisions consciously, with your consciousness and awareness in core with your spirit. Your thoughts.
Yes, yes, yes. The reason why I started by raising the issue of growth, and I hear you on that, is because during that process, you have to involve the development of your mind. You have to portray, a good character, and work against bad habits. And you have to build relationships, because you're not, no man is an island, so you have to build relationships. Um, be careful of the people you're associated with, in terms of people who are also trying to develop the best version of themselves. And you have to have a vision for life. So it is from that perspective that it says that you have to grow in these basic fundamental elements to really get to that stage, because it is something that more and more every day, as I think about it, it is necessary. Because I think if we don't do that, we tend to kind of forget the purpose. And so I believe a lot of these things that are happening in the world today, crime and so on, it's all emanating from those characteristics and those things that we, as a human being, have not been adhering to. We've been not becoming the best of ourselves.
Well, you see,
Take for example the first principle of self-awareness, knowing yourself, eh? And being yourself, not to try to compare with somebody else
go ahead,
and try, you understand me, and try to be competitive,
go ahead.
um, going around trying to have success, maybe in the wrong way, in a negative way,
Mm.
and so on. So that it starts from your self-awareness by
How do you
understanding
get?
yourself.
How do you become self-aware?
Right.
How? How? You know how?
Well, that has to do with things that you have to educate yourself. You have to read. You have to
No, 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 no,
reflect.
not at all. Absolutely not. No,
That's my
you
view.
live.
That's my
No, no, you live. No, you live. That is the problem. You don't go into memory. You don't go into memory. You live. You explore. You experience life. That is how you become. You know the nature of your existence. How do you know God, whom you cannot see? Through a relationship, experience of a relationship. The way you know yourself, how you think, how you feel, how you experience life, is by exploring, experiencing life. You don't go into your memory to think about it. You don't read that in a book. You live. It's real. It's real. Life is what comes naturally. If you have to invent it, then it's a lie. It's a story.
yeah, but
So that is the problem. The problem is we are trying to do logic. You don't. You see. You have to do inner engineering. You can't use logic to get to know yourself. How you think, how you feel. That's not a logical exercise. That is through your consciousness and awareness. You have to go inside of yourself to know how you think, how you feel, how you experience. You're seeing me now, and the others see me now through their retina, but they are experiencing me within themselves, and you as well. You see, all experiences come from within. They come from within, not from outside. They come from within. You experience life from within yourself. Joy,
well,
all emotions come from within. You create you are a joy factory. You are the manufacturer of all the emotions. Joy, happiness, sweetness. So you make all your emotions sweet. They don't come from outside. It's a misguided understanding that you can squeeze pleasure out of the environment. No, you create that from within yourself. Hello.
yes, I'm listening to you.
So
I
it is
don't.
not the pleasures of life that is going to make a person, happy or unhappy. There are people who have everything, but they're not content, they're not joyful, they're not, because you create that. It doesn't come from outside, it doesn't come from material things. You create that for yourself. And the more people learn this, the better they will be. Not to be living their lives by comparison, but getting to know yourself. It's a process where you explore, you experience, you live.
But
How can you
what
know
I was
yourself?
pointing to is that yes, the self awareness, you can deepen that. You can deepen that through, because it just doesn't come like that. You have to deepen it through knowledge. And where do you get knowledge from?
Knowledge of what?
Knowledge of the importance of becoming the best person.
No, just live your life, Ivan. You just live your life. You step on, you're there, just live. Relax and live life. So, no, what a child does, no, please, what a child does. They come out of the womb and they're curious, but innocently so. They're touching this. When they see the television, they get all excited. They want to know what that is. Where is that exuberance in adults? Where is it? Because you see, we've become exposed. We were no longer innocent. We're no longer spiritual. Because now we have all these identities and identifications that become barriers to our spirituality. We're no longer exuberant about life. Because all of a sudden we think we know so much or know enough, seeing everything. You can never exhaust life. Life is your 3 square and 10. I'm not talking about lifestyle. So when you wake up in the morning, what you do is you keep a full energy pack always. You always live with intensity, as if though today were going to be your last day. You don't necessarily have to say, well, okay, I'm going to make a plan. Why? Because the most important step is the one immediately in front of you. You just live. When you're content, when you're joyful, you know what to do. You don't have to preempt. You don't have to say, what am I going to say? How am I going to handle this? You just be. A human being already knows how to be. Relax and just be. And
it's not as easy as you are saying, because if you go according to what you're saying, you will make a number of mistakes, and you will. No.
You will have to speak for yourself.
In life, right? Because you're exploring, you should be able to learn from your mistakes, right? That is part of your self-awareness.
You know why I don't make mistakes? Because I'm seeing the clear path ahead of me. You know why you are making them? Because you are trying to psych yourself and try to make yourself confident. What you do is you get clarity. When you have clarity, you don't need confidence. You're already seeing the clear path, the illumined path ahead of you. You know how you get clarity? You get clarity by good preparation. You get clarity by experiencing life. Tell me whatever you want to be clear about and we will discuss it, but that is how you get clarity. If you are a cyclist and you've been beaten by that Mexican or that American in the cross country, how would you win? You know how you'd win? You know how you'd win?
That means you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
No, I'm talking about the next race. How would you win the next race?
Well, you have to learn from your experiences. That's what I'm saying. And from maybe you have made certain mistakes, or maybe you didn't have certain knowledge. And that's the reason why I said it's important to have these things as the basis for
the way you will win the next race, assuming you have what it takes, is good preparation. So you look at the record. Say the record for the cross country is 6.5 hours. So the training ground is right here, between here and San Ignacio. You work under varying weather conditions, whether it be very hot, very windy, raining, and you beat the existing record. You realize how you got beat before. So if you got beat simply by the sprint, then you work on that, your competence. You make sure you have the best bike and the good support team. You make sure that you are doing your diet properly. You get good rest. So good preparation, not by trying to beat Guatemala or trying to beat the American or trying to beat the Mexican. That is psyching yourself. You adequately prepare. And so that's not confidence you're getting. You're getting clarity, because you know that you, in pacing, whoever is behind you, you don't worry about. Only one person lifts the garland. So So you only concern yourself about those able to keep up with you or ahead of you. That is how you're going to win. Am I wrong?
No, no, no. I put all of that in the process of discipline,
You need more
meaning that
than
you,
discipline, though. You need
right,
more
but
than discipline. You need clarity. You need clarity. You need to see the clear path of how you're going to win this cross-country race. You need to see the clear path of how Ivan is positioning himself, marketing himself like no one else. You are one of a kind individual. There is no other Ivan in this world, Ivan Williams. None. You're the only one God created. Are you going to tell me? Are you going to tell me that somebody can do what you do, your niche, better than you?
no, no,
That
no, no.
shouldn't
But
be. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. When you find your niche, that which you're competent at, that which you love with a passion, and you're becoming a better and better version every day. Nobody can beat you on your craft. I guarantee you that.
but if
Nobody.
but if you don't discipline and develop daily habits, see that training that you talk about, that comes from disciplining so that you can develop the daily habits. Because remember, we have a lot of things. We have distractions. We have things that get in the way. We have influence from other people, influence from the environment. And that's the reason why I brought in the concept of discipline. You
Well, I
have to
was
be,
going to.
yeah,
You see,
yeah.
You see, it's a process of how you become mature, which is in effect what you're alluding to. But
And
initially, it starts with an explosion. How you mature, yes, you have to then maintain your a spiritual lifestyle. But you've got to first and foremost become governed by your spirit nature. That is the only way. You have to start with an explosion. So you start with the explosion by going from solid, I was this way, Ivan was this way, I was born this way, rigid state, to liquid, whereby now you become flexible. You're neither a day or night person, you become flexible. You need to say, well, I like this, but I don't like that. That's one of the things that destroy a lot of people. In Garifuna, we say about the Haswesiha, they choose it, they pick and choose it. No, you have to become flexible. And you go from that to vapor, and you go from that to nothingness. Nothingness is the realm of the spirit. Because that is the only way you can go from the physical to the spiritual realm, through an explosion. You think you can do that through religion? You can't become spiritual minded through religion. You have to explode. You have to go through the stages as an individual where you decide, look, I am nothing. I will return to nothing. My body and mind will return to the dust, but I will continue to exist as a spirit, who I am at the core. Isn't it true that you are a spirit being at the core? Isn't it true that you are an eternal spirit being at the core? That after your body and mind goes back to dust, that you will continue to live in the spirit eternal realm. You don't believe that?
yes, I believe that. I believe that.
So then why aren't you living as a spirit being now, in the here and now? You are a spirit being.
Well,
because that is the only way you will be able to transcend boundaries. That is the only way you'll be unstoppable. That is the only way you'll be indispensable, unbeatable. When you are driving by governed by your spirit. And that's what I'm talking to you about in transformation, to be governed by your spirit. You can't be beat. You cannot be beat. How can you be beaten when you're one of a kind? You see, my stiffest competition and yours are to be yourself. Becoming a better version of what I was yesterday is my goal for today.
Yeah, but where does emotional maturity comes in all of this?
Okay, like I said earlier, thought and emotion, you always have to bring them back into alignment, because one day they are saying, I want to live. One moment, the next moment, they are saying, I don't want to live. So every time you get angry, bitter, jealous, and the like, if you creating those poisons, maybe intended for someone else, but you're drinking them yourself. So
No, no,
you,
no. But sometimes they come from pressure from society.
let me answer you with that. Let me tell you something. Um, it is not true that stress comes from the environment. Grandma used to say when the child goes to her, Grandma, she said, cut down, cut down, cut down, cut down on your activities. No, you're supposed to live life with intensity. If you were carrying a calf when it was only 50 pounds, you still be carrying it when it becomes 250 pounds. The difference would be that you'd be stronger. It would make you stronger. So the problem then is that you have to learn how to carry a load. That is the issue. Learning how to carry a load. As the load gets heavier, you only become stronger. How can that be wrong? So you see, you're stressing the load. That is the issue. You're stressing the load. You have to learn how to carry it.
Well, remember, life should not be a selfish approach.
What you mean by that?
Well, you have to realize that it is not just about you and you alone, but you want the same for others.
It is never selfish if you are being humane about it. You keep your humanity lit. It is never selfish because you have transcended compulsive thought and behavior, and you're living, making decisions consciously and with your awareness. So your ambition is about you first and foremost, you and yours. Nothing is wrong with having an ambition. Now, when you start envisioning and you say, okay, it's just an expanded ambition. That's what a vision is. When you become inclusive of others and you want for others the same things that you want for yourself, nothing less, nothing more. So that's what gives you integrity. When others see that you want for them, you don't have a double standard. You want for them the same things you want for yourself. So they start to give you their trust. You know who they don't trust? Politicians. So they ask them for promissory notes. Look, what happens, and I'll be honest with you, is that only politicians can really effectively sell, and deliver on hope. What you get in a religious organization or institution is a dog chasing after its tail. It's psychological. It's psychological. It's pie in the sky. Hope, hope. Look, politicians can effectively sell and deliver on hope because hope is tangible. Hope of owning a home by age 30. Hope of getting affordable education, good infrastructure, roads, bridges, and the like. Hope of keeping us safe at night, safe and secure while we sleep. Those are tangible and those are deliverables. But when a religious institution, whether it be Muslim, Christian, or Hindu, or what have you, sell hope, it is psychological. They only market it and people buy it. They suck it. You know why? Out of fear. Not knowledge, fear. Fear of dying and the unknown. So they are preoccupied with what may or may not happen. So they're not living, they're wasting time. Whenever you're bogged down in memory, you're not living, you're wasting time. To live, you have to live in your existential reality. You're 70 years. You have to live. So every time you're there thinking and thinking and thinking, you're not creating a single thing. You can't create a single thing from memory. You have to go out and experience, live. Life is about making memorable experiences. Why are you looking down at your notes? Why are you looking down? Life are about making memorable experiences, my brother and co-host.
Yes, yes, yes. But like I said, you talk about politicians selling hope.
Ah, am I
I
wrong?
say yes, yes. But I said you as an individual, right? You can't blame the politician. You'll blame yourself if you're going to buy that hope. Because at the end of the day, if the product and the services are not delivered, then
No,
you have
no,
a conscious
no,
mind.
no, no. I am saying to Janku public, don't buy it. Get it in writing. That's what I'm telling them. Lock it in. Lock
But
it
even
in.
but even if you get it in writing, what difference
Uh-huh.
does it make? What difference does it make whether it is oral or in writing?
You carry the quote? You carry the quote? What you mean? You're an attorney?
No man,
Hello? You
no
lock it
man, no
in.
man.
You know you have an MOU. You lock it in, man. No, man. No. No. Once upon a time, right? Word of mouth and so work. What? Because when you don't trust someone, like i.e. some politicians, you get it in writing. What is wrong with that? You lock it in. I'll make you director. This I will make you that, and they sooner or later forget, because you know what? They don't have enough. Maybe sometimes there's not enough to go around. So look, you shouldn't be promising what you can't deliver. So people must teach you a lesson. If you promise me something, you will give it to me in writing. You not comfort me. I'm not a fool.
But how enforceable is that agreement?
Well, we will test it.
No,
We
I
will
don't
test
think it's
it.
enforceable.
We will test it.
Or you will
Yeah.
test it. I don't think it's
No, because
enforceable.
let me tell you, the same way politicians have tools at their disposal, can't you public too? They can expand the battlefield.
No, no,
If
but
I
I'm saying
if I come on air, no, if I come on air and I show that I have a signed promise note from a politician, and they're not have reasonable time to deliver and they fail to deliver, I will give that to the press. I will go on air and they will give me free press. And let me tell you, I will destroy that politician integrity. I will destroy him or her. And they don't want that. So I'm telling you that this is not just a archaic exercise. This is how you do it. You must you must be a person of integrity. Be a person of integrity.
I agree. I agree that we all should be persons of integrity because that is part of the process as we go through life and as we go through becoming the best version. But I am a bit concerned with respect. How will you enforce a promise?
Then I won't hire you for my attorney. I will hire an attorney that believes in the signed note that I received. Hello. If we have to go all the way to the if we have to go all the way to the CCJ, what? You will tell me if I get something in writing from somebody that haven't yet become a minister, and then they become the minister and they don't deliver it to me. I have to make them the minister with my vote, and they don't deliver it to me. You will tell me that that's not enforceable?
Well, there are elements such as consideration, which
What
that may not
consideration?
have.
For whom?
In every contract, in every agreement that you have, there has to be some level of consideration.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
you know what?
and a
Big
promise,
fishes keep
and a
eating the
promise.
small fish.
I
And you
could,
know what? The big fish have to learn lesson the hard way too. And you know
and I
what?
could.
David could beat Goliath. It happened before.
So I'm saying that promise will be difficult to enforce because it will lack certain things.
You have to be you have to know.
I think I think it
You
is
know what?
best. It is best for us, given what I have experienced, and I'm talking about myself now in terms of my experience in life, that we have to realize certain things. One, that the politicians are servants; they are not the boss. We are. And if we can come to that consciousness, then we will do things different. Okay? Because the person who pays you is your employer.
Hit the nail on the head, man. Hit the nail on the head, man. Come on the thing,
Yes.
man. Come on the
And
thing.
so all of us who pay taxes, right? Because that's where the money come from to pay politicians and do services. And so we have to hold them to the task of providing services, and we have to hold them to the task of accountability and transparency. They're not running their own business. They're being running an affair in relation to the public. So I think that is the better approach, right, rather than trying to have them sign, as you said,
You can
promissory notes.
okay, good. Okay, we agree to disagree, but let me say something to you. I am not of the entitlement mentality. I don't want them to give me anything. I just want them to do their job.
Well, I likewise. I don't want them to, but there are
Okay, no,
certain
no,
things.
no, no,
There are
no, no.
certain.
You had your say. You had your say. Let me make my case. Let me make my case. But almost half of the country has entitlement mentality. They think their parents owe them. They think the system owes them. Some of them even think God owes them. I am not one of those. But you know what? Politicians are policymakers. That's what they're supposed to be. But now, sadly, politics is now equated with the mud going down there. So they have slipped. The reputation has, like several other professions. So then now, an honorable, a politician, a person of integrity, will deliver on a promise. If I say to someone, I will give you XYZ, and maybe I don't have the 100% of it, but I will make some baby steps, man. I have 20%, I will owe you the 80. Come back next month for the other, another 20. So that is integrity. That's how people continue to give you their trust. But you don't take your phone off the hook. You don't lie to people. You don't change your number. You don't do that. That's what politics has become. That's why there's no more trustworthiness, no more integrity gone. So don't ask me to say politician and public servant. Don't give me rhetoric. I am saying to you that, look, I'm not voting you in because you can promise outlandish, like, or what you can't deliver. I am not of the entitlement class. If you run for and you become Minister of Education, I just want affordable education for all. I don't want special for person. Affordable education. That's what I wanted to put in writing. Our policy of affordable education. If you are Minister of Health, affordable health care. If you are Minister of Oil and Natural Resources, that you weed out, stamp out corruption, and you have a fair, transparent system for people to get land, whether it be for farming, for this, for residential and business and the like. I want that in writing and hold you to that. Am I wrong? What do I have wrong? Please, what do I have wrong?
Well, there's a couple of things. I agree with you that it is not about entitlement. Let me be very clear on that. And some of us do. It is about us, what we can get. And that's the reason why the promissory note that you spoke about seemed to suggest that it is you trying to make an arrangement with a politician for certain entitlements. And that's
Oh,
why
your
I said.
mind went in that. Yes,
And
because there's
so
a
the
history in
approach
that
that you took,
in doing
secondly,
so.
the approach that you took just now, where what you're holding them to is to create the environment, enabling environment, so that we can have access, everybody have access to the services that we need, access to education at an affordable rate, access to health care. So it is not about entitlement by individual, but it's is to put in place those policies and systems and creating the environment so that people don't rely on handout, because that is one of the problems that we're having. People are following because they are getting hands out, and this handout business is what is having us in trouble. As a matter of fact, it
Uh-huh.
has gotten so worse that it seemed to me that it is all about a one-day transaction, right? I have seen it in my experience that we have 365 days in a year, uh, with the exception of leap years. If you multiply that by five, you end up with 1,825 days. It's like 1,825 days cycle before you get the opportunity to go back to choose your leadership or who you want to represent you.
Yes, but
And one day out of that, per se, I just want to finish on this note. One day out of that, out of the 1,825 days, they treat you good for one day. On that day, you get all the things that you want, how much money you need. You want drinks. And if you drink Smirnoff or you drink whiskey or whatever. And for the rest of the days of that cycle, very little is done. And so that is why I'm saying if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to start to think along those lines, that you cannot allow politicians and other people, right, to cloud your vision and cloud your understanding of what should be and what role you play, and not to shortchange yourself or undermine yourself or become a puppet. You understand me? So this is the reason why I'm saying that it is better for you all to understand the reason why. There is, look, for example, uh, poverty. We have to get a good understanding as to why it doesn't seem to be improving, and so we have to understand how can we provide, or how can we make a difference to affect that we don't fall in those same categories.
I
And
thought
so
you were going to.
yeah,
I
go
thought you
ahead.
were going to. We are middle age.
Yes.
We reached the age of retirement. I thought you were going to agree with me that the system needs to change, to improve. I thought you were going to agree with me that
But
policymakers, I mean, politicians are policymakers. We have inherited a colonial system that is flawed, and we are perpetuating it today. Now we have down to, no interrupt me now. Now we have down to Mother's Day chair. We have Christmas turkey ham. We have summer school program backpack. We have Mother's Day thing that just gone. Father's Day they come up 1 month from now. What I'm saying to you, people are trained and hooked on these things. What you call the class? Entitlement class.
mhm.
They're hooked on it. Okay. So it came with colonialism. Okay. And once you're hooked on it, it's like a drug. You can't take it back now because you only could increase the dose. One time, what? What? Who you could send home? One time it only made sense in a small Belize to have what 20 or 20 odd or less seats in the house in parliament. Now we're there at 31. They don't want to send nobody home. Even though your area that you ran was like 7 to 9,000. It grew so big, and somebody one area of Belize City that 3,000 or less, right? That's not one person to one vote, equal again, right? Some votes are bigger than others. But you know what? They cut illegally, they find all kind of ways to cut, right? But they don't send nobody home, they're not cut down. They only expand the list. They even violate boundaries. One boundary that one natural river, one mountain or something, they violate boundaries. Like Pickstack that cross the bloody river. I am saying to you, how do you change a corrupt system? You change a corrupt system, right? Through the court, that is one, by having the will. People have to have the will. You can't come to my house as a politician and continue to make them foolish promises like you've been doing all the time. And this is where social media is helping. People to wake up. They suck their teeth when they want to come with them, make them promise. Put it in a writing. Put it in a writing. I am telling you, I want a gender neutral legislation, and I want that in writing. I want it in writing. And watch me take it to the CCJ. If I have to go by myself, I'm going. Yeah, you watch me.
Yeah. But you see, well, my thought process drove me to transformation of the individual,
That
right?
transformation of the country as well.
Yeah, but it starts with you. You have to start to see things
Well,
differently.
one
You cannot
person, you only
allow,
need one to take a stand. You only need one to take a stand.
but that is the problem because you can't blame the system
Wasn't Jesus
forever.
one man?
You can't blame the politician. You blame yourself. You have to try. You said earlier, if something is happening, right, you have to not allow it to continue if it's not in the best interest,
Of the
right?
world. Of the world.
Yes, you see, it's like a person. I think you mentioned in one of the show that you saw your father transformed right there
That's right. That's right.
from
I
from
did.
a drunkard.
I did.
So that's what we are trying to try to bring to the public, that it requires a transformation from within. That you all need to look at
Everything,
things.
including the country.
Yes,
The
but it
country
starts
needs
with you. It
transform.
starts with the person
Society needs
looking.
transform. Your family needs transform. But you see, change, conflict, for example, starts from within the individual. When they don't resolve it within themselves, that's when they take it outside. So we are doing it one individual at a time. That's what we're doing on this platform. Transformation, one individual at a time.
Right.
But look, wars begin with individuals, having conflict within themselves. Huh? When somebody say, look, I am willing to die for what I believe. They're on the back hand of that, they are saying I'm willing to kill if needs be. So I'm saying that you can talk about this on any scale, from the individual to the country to the universal to the world scale. But it applies on every scale. Transformation is needed.
I agree that transformation is required, and I'm saying it starts with you, the individual.
Yes.
And you, the individual, have to
Yeah.
realize that there is an important role that you play in ensuring that you stand for something. Otherwise, you'll fall for everything. But
I like that.
a lot of us don't see it that way. We
Yeah.
believe
Mhm.
that that is how it is, and we give up. We can't change that. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So the systems
Uh-huh.
and the things that are preventing us from having a better life.
Uh-huh.
All right. Some of us they give up. We don't have no. We don't have the. I don't want to use a bad word. We don't stand. We don't back up.
Oh.
We know something is wrong, but we are not prepared to make the sacrifices, and we are not
Uh,
prepared to put our differences aside for what is good. We
uh.
toe lines. We may toe political lines or religious lines or whatever is causing the division, right? Instead of standing for what is the truth and backing it up by your actions. That is one thing to realize what is the truth and backing up by your actions. But sometimes we
Yes.
are dissuaded by I'm not talking partisan politics here in terms of whether I remember a guy told me one time, and another guy told me the inverse. He says, he said, I am blue till I die. And the next one say, I am red till I die. I said, well, boy, that's not the mental approach that Ivan Williams is talking about. Because if I were to bring a bag of shit, that means you will vote for a bag of shit because you will vote along party or color lines. I think and it's a reality in this country. We have to get
Okay.
people to move away from that kind of mentality, right? And look at no, you're laughing, but it is the truth. This is what I've experienced, and I try to say I am not looking at it from that angle. I'm looking for the right things to be done, right? And
Yes.
everybody
Yes.
to be given that equity and fair treatment, and for the policymakers and so on to put in place the systems that will benefit and create a better environment, because that is all we are trying, and we play our role. So this is the reason why I'm saying that it starts with you, a transformation of you looking at things and standing for something rather than falling for everything.
You see, my brother, and I'm winding down, then you will make your parting shot as well. It's better not to have expectations of others. So I don't live that way. I don't have any expectations. That's why I don't get disappointed. I know what I am about, what I'm passionate about. I am seeing the clear path ahead of me. I want a gender-neutral legislation for all, because we already have it in the 1981 Constitution. It's going to make us 45 years, and we have yet to have equal rights in this country, with which come equal opportunity. And under that same legislation, that article in the Constitution, you have no discrimination, whether it be in color, creed, which have to do with religion, gender, and so on. And that is how we are experiencing. Everywhere you go, there is discrimination. So, well, the policymakers, to my mind, are sleeping on the job because we are allowing them. I will not expect others to. I will not. If they come and join me, fine. But I will fight. I will clamor. If I have to go all the way to the CCJ, I will fight this matter, because when the Constitution says it needs to become a right, it's a right. The Constitution don't give it. That is the supreme law of the land. It's already a right. So why don't they now legislate and put it into policy to give it teeth, so you could take it into court? We don't need to have meetings when we already have a right. It's not for opinion. It is not for discussion. It is a right. It's a right. You deliver on it. If they're not delivering on it, you go to court and you demand it. And on that note, I give you the last word.
Well, I want to say to the listening public, and particularly Belizeans, that never be complacent. Continue to evolve, right? And be humble, be open-minded, and always remember that it is you who will develop the best version of yourself. And you can only do that through the full development of your potentials. And so instead of becoming a follower, you stop following or reacting, but become a part of the change of the process, which is difficult because change is a very hard thing sometimes. But that is what I would want to depart on, that people must change and don't be complacent, but continue to evolve to be that person that you should be, and influence, be a change and influence rather than just a follower.
And that's it. That's it, my brother.
That's it.
Thank you very much. This is Reality
Thank you.
with Partiality, and my co-host, Ivan Williams. We'll be back tomorrow at 6. Remember, go to our YouTube, Percy Lewis. We have our tapes there. And very soon you'll be able to contact us if you want to make appointments for consultation. We will provide you with that information very soon. Much obliged to all of you. Have a glorious Friday. Ayo. Yeah, my co-host.
Yes, man. Thanks. Thanks you all. Thanks.